Cancer can be cured through fasting. Fasting and cancer. What is the correlation? Why people talk so much about fasting nowadays? And what is the research that suggests that fasting could help actually kill cancer cells? Stay tuned and watch until the end to learn more about the science. Nice meeting you. I'm Dr. Corassa, a nutritionist from Brazil that is actually famous for being a raw foodist and a lifetime proponent of water fasting as a way to treat our diseases. After 17 years of living a natural hygiene lifestyle, that means sleeping earlier, having dinner earlier, eating only raw foods, primarily fruits and vegetables, exercising every day, interaction with plants, sunshine every day, and doing long water fasting from 39 days, 24, 30, 23, 19, but a lot smaller than that. I'm pretty sure I can teach you the science and the basics from fasting and what we call the science of health. This lifestyle medicine model that promotes health through healthful living instead of pills and removing organs. We now know almost for 100 years that caloric restriction prevents all kinds of diseases and reduces even aging, the rate of aging in our cells in our body. So this is actually a famous research done in America in primates. This primate eats a normal amount of calories. This primate actually restricted calorie intake for 30%. And you can see one is way more aged than the other one. So you want to retain your youthness, eat less calories. So as I show here in a research from Bruce Ames, a famous scientist, shows caloric restriction not only increases the lifespan, but increases also health span, as we call in science. So you have reduced incidence of cancer because of reduced rate of mitogenesis that is actually correlated with mutagenesis. What that means, when you eat less, you cause less DNA damage. When you cause less DNA damage, you have less mutations. And when you eat less, you also reproduce your cells less. So you have more time to repair the damaged cells before they get damaged and reproduce. If you want to understand a little bit more of this, I just posted a video about cancer biology and how to treat cancer with diet. I put on the links below and also in the cards above me. The less we have mitogenesis, the less we have mutagenesis, the less we have carcinogenesis. You get me? When you divide your cells too fast, you cannot repair the cells as much as you need. And then you start to getting cancer. So when we eat less, we reduce the amount of cell division, the speed of cell division. So this research is pretty cool because we already showed that in rodent studies, in mice, a prolonged fasting influences positively carcinogenesis and metabolic processes that are associated with risk and prognosis of breast cancer. So when mice have a prolonged time of fast, they have a better cancer outcome. They collected data from 2,413 women about what we call chrononutrition, when they were having dinner. So the women that were having dinner around 6 p.m. had almost 38% less breast cancer and have a better glycemic control and a longer sleep duration. So imagine, without changing anything in your diet, having 38% less reincidence of breast cancer. So women that already had breast cancer, they could have it again if they were eating after 6 p.m. So a research also from Walter Longo in Cell Press, a really famous scientific article, prolonged fasting reduces IGF-1 and promotes stem cell hematopoietic regeneration and reverses immunosuppression. That means a prolonged fasting, at least in mice as far as we know, can actually regenerate your stem cells and can also reverse the immunosuppression that chemotherapy causes. So chemotherapy damages our immune system. So fasting not can only repair our immune system, but can repair the stem cells that are actually the base of any cell in our bodies. So we need the stem cells to regenerate our body, to generate new cells, repair structures. So fasting can actually do what no remedy whatsoever in the planet can. Also, another research showing that fasting protects the hematopoietic stem cells from chemotherapy and from aging. So look at this. These rats are eating ad libitum. So they can eat as much as they want. So if you see their bone marrow inside their bones, the immune cells are really lacking. So when they go throughout chemotherapy and aging, they end up with almost no whatsoever stem cells. What does happen to the mice? They are immunosuppressed. That means their immune system is not functioning correctly, and their kind of immune cells are more myeloid biased. That means their immune system is more like an old person. But the fasting, they have prolonged fasting and refeeding cycles, they have less IGF-1 and PKA, and that means their hematopoietic stem cells, the stem cells that stay inside the bones to produce new blood cells, are actually like a young mice. And so they go through chemotherapy and aging, and they don't lose these hematopoietic stem cells. The mice have more of balanced and functional immune system. Also, another research from Longo, he actually called this mechanism, this biological mechanism, differential stress resistance, DSR. So when you induce fasting in an organism, or what he calls the fasting mimicking diet, a semi-fast, really low calorie diet with phytonutrients, you can turn on the protection of normal cells and induce cancer cell death. That means the normal cells during a fast can turn on survival mechanisms, repairing mechanisms, but the cancer cells during the fast cannot turn on these survival repairing mechanisms. So they have differential stress sensitization. So the stress from chemotherapy kills these cancer cells, but doesn't kill the normal cells. The normal cells stay protected from the chemotherapy. So what that means, that I don't agree with it because I don't agree with chemotherapy, but he already showed that if you do fasting with chemotherapy, the chemotherapy is more effective in killing cancer cells. But I think it's actually the fasting and the body that is actually killing the cancer cells. But they don't understand that the body heals itself and you don't need chemo. In my humble opinion, that is not a science-based opinion. So look at this scientific article. When less is more, caloric restriction reduces the incidence of chronic diseases and cancer. 75.5 less incidence of cancer in mice just by caloric restriction. And this graph is actually showing what caloric restriction, fasting, and fasting mimicking diet does to all these biological mechanisms in cancer, like normal cells, tumor cells, circulation, tumor microenvironment. It changes everything to reduce inflammation, reduce growth factors, reduce side effects, increase sensitivity to antimitotic agents. That means that these agents help to end the proliferation of the cancer cells. A lot of things go on when we restrict calories. So almost the last slide we have to go through is this research done by Walter Longo. He showed that fasting reduces the toxic effects from chemotherapy. So the people that have cancer in the hospital, he tried fasting during the chemotherapy session in a lot of people in the hospital. So he showed that fatigue, weakness, hair loss, headaches, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal cramps, mouth sores, dry mouth, short-term memory impairment, numbness, tingling, neuropathic motor, they're all reduced. All these symptoms were significantly reduced in the patients fasting compared to the ad libitum patients. That means the patients were eating as much as they want. And even more, you have to think about it. Hospital food, we all know it's crap. In Brazil and in America, everywhere, they sell you junk food. I don't know you, but my dad died because of cancer. And in the hospital, he didn't want to listen to me, right? But in the hospital, they fed him in the first day lasagna with meat and gelatin and a lot of junk food crap that actually he got a lot worse in one day in the hospital than he was with the disease at home. But that's another topic. So does your medical doctor suggest that lifestyle, fasting, and diet doesn't have any correlation whatsoever with cancer or its treatment? Look at these slides. Doctors 50 years ago used to suggest smoke Camel. That's the brand of medical doctors. But for more than 50 years now, we know that smoking causes lung cancer and ends up aging you faster, increases the rate of diabetes and a lot of other diseases. So even if your medical doctor don't agree with it, you have to look for the science or even try to find one that supports these ideas. Maybe fasting is not yet really well understood in the cancer biology, but diet and lifestyle is. So eat more plants, be more active, sleep earlier. I'm pretty sure you will find a lot of scientific articles to support that, and you will feel a lot better and your symptoms will be a lot less. But just to finish, this article says it all. Treatment of cancer is a lifestyle thing. Exams and therapies is a failed strategy. This was published actually by Dennis Burkin in the 90s. This guy actually saw that we don't need more hospitals and pills. We need education for sick people, for they to be able to understand what is causing their disease and drop these lifestyle habits. Just to finish with my greatest mentor, the biggest medical mentality of all time, Dr. Herbert Shelton, there is actually a simple, free, non-pharmacological intervention without side effects. Something physiological that every species on the planet, from plants or animals, share. That is fasting. All plants, all animals in the planet can fast when they are damaged, when they need to heal something. So there is no cure but a return to obedience. What actually can fasting do is help to regenerate. But if you come back to the old lifestyle habits, you end up promoting the same diseases. So as Dr. Herbert used to say, the removal of tumors through autolysis have actually several advantages from the surgical removal of a tumor. So you want to know more about fasting? I'm pretty sure I wrote the best and most updated book on fasting in the world. It actually deals with all the scientific papers published so far, but also deals with a lot of the expertise and the knowledge of natural hygienists supervising water fasts from 1 to 40 days or even more than that for more than 200 years. So I published my book on Amazon. It's actually available on Kindle or in POD, printed version. It's the Hygienic Fasting Nature Surgery. It's a must-read on fasting literature. But besides that, I have 10 books published in Portuguese. It will be soon available in English. I have 6 online courses in Portuguese. I have the retreat that you can come here. Even if you only speak English, I can find you a translator while I'm giving a class. To spend 5 or up to 10 days here in Brazil, eating tropical fruit and learning natural hygiene lifestyle. And you also can have a consultation with me if you feel like it. I can do the consultation online or in person. I hope you, like Dr. Douglas Graham says, you go to health and click these videos to know more.